It's being recorded, guys.
Yeah, just
Oh, you all heard that? Okay.
Yeah,
I had
that's
to
the
hit a
first time
consent
that's ever
button.
come up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
first time ever. It's
Yeah.
good though.
Where did my, there we go.
Okay, Danielle.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
All right. What happened to my sound? There we go. The meeting tonight is for the conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate at the items marked on the agenda, public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Please state your full name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
thank you very much, Danielle. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Yep.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
Public,
which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. As usual, a moment of silence, please, for all our brave men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom, and especially for all our first responders and our local policemen and local firemen. Thank you. So I think you want to amend the agenda, Howard, to add those transfer numbers for the,
Yeah, I want to amend the resolution regarding the transfer of funds to say, be it therefore resolved that 20,000 be transferred from the general fund balance A.9015 to historical property budget code A752.400.
this is reference to resolution 57.
Yes.
You made that motion and second,
a second.
Councilman Corcoran, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None being said, so moved. Also, I like to make an amendment to the agenda to add the rental of Tomback office to the New York State Department of Agriculture and Market. And they called me up today. I got an email from them. So I'd like to put that on the agenda. I motion that. I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None said, so moved. Need a motion to approve the agendas with the amendments. I make that motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, gentlemen. Motion to approve minutes from the May 10, 2021 Town Board meeting.
I make the
Motion.
motion to approve the minutes from
Second.
town.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Authorized payment of bills of $155,280.51. I make that motion. Need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None being said, so moved. Pay the bills. We don't have any presentations today. Anybody have any comments on the agenda? Comments on the agenda? None being said, moving along. On new business, I have the garage ductless unit. I have a request from the highway. So I'm not going to read it all, but it basically is from Gary Lazarus. He's requesting purchase of $1,760 for a ductless unit for in the garage. That would just, the garage that was just poured the concrete, the new flooring. And the theory would be that the large hot air unit would not have to run when conditions are milder and not make the mechanic working in the air path and be almost silent. As a bonus, it would give us AC. Hopefully that could keep the dust down inside the doors. We're shut more often. And so that's a request from them. He gives an explanation. It sounds logical to me. It's 1760. It's comes from the building fund. I talked to Chris, there's no problem with that. So I make a motion that we buy the garage heater for the highway department in the amount of $1,760. And they are going to install it also.
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Workshop topics, moving right along, COVID-19. Tom, you have anything you'd like to report? Things are pretty opening up pretty fast, aren't they?
Yeah, I didn't do an official report for tonight, but yeah, things are opening up as of May 19th. I mean, obviously, you can take your mask off if you're fully vaccinated, but just for people to be aware that, businesses, schools, have the option. I mean, there's no option. Schools, there's no option, but businesses do have an option to request the mask. So even though, they did lift it, if you walk in somewhere and they still have the sign on the door, don't yell at the people there. It's policy of certain businesses, including CVS, that you still wear a mask. A lot of the active numbers are really down, which is great. Hospitalizations are down, so infection rates are down. Everything's down. Vaccinations are up, and the county's doing their next vaccination locally at Stewart's this Wednesday from 1:30 to 3:30. They'll have the Johnson & Johnson single shots and also have the Pfizer 2-shot set up. So that'll happen this Wednesday at Stewart's.
Age limits, Tom?
12 and up.
12 and up.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I was kind of curious after the 19th to see what was going to happen as far as mask wearing, but it seems the majority of people in grocery stores and other retail outlets actually continuing with the mask usage.
Yeah.
It's encouraging to me.
Yeah,
Right.
me too. I agree, Alan.
The way we are at our business, it's that we all wear masks when a customer comes to our desk. A couple of customers have said, I'm totally vaccinated. If you're totally vaccinated, I have no problem. It's a lot easier to communicate that way. And that happens, probably half the time. But they're more than 6 feet away, and we're both vaccinated.
Yeah.
I keep a card right at my desk.
We're moving in the right direction. It's very promising. I think it's great. Families could hug their grandchildren and stuff like that now. I mean, it's really a great feeling.
I got another one due next week.
Oh, come on, Ed.
Congrats, Eddie. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ed.
Thanks, Scott.
And also on 2021 summer camp, we had registrations tonight, so I was hoping that went well. Tina Rose is doing a fantastic job. We finally got the COVID statement from the state and the county, basically just about what we expected. Their kids have to wear their masks during the camp, 3 feet apart, while in different groups, 6 feet apart from different subgroups. While they're eating, they can take their mask off, but basically everything is pretty copacetic with the mask and the social distancing. So that's going on. The ladies are doing a great job. Hopefully, we're very successful in that. First of all, tonight was registration for all residents of Marlborough. I think they'll do that for a while, and then we'll kick it off to outside residents. Most of everybody at the supervisor meeting were actually having camp, although a little different. Just like us, we scaled down our hours and on our age also group. But the only one that I believe is Joe Croach, who from Plattekill is not going to attempt to have a camp this year. So maybe we'll get some people there. Tom?
Just so you know, Town of Ulster, Quigley, he just canceled their camp.
Okay.
So Quigley canceled. And just so you know, I just left Tina about 10 minutes ago before I came to the meeting. And she said, not bad. She said the signups are not bad. So they've been getting some people in there. So
Good.
it's going pretty good.
Good.
Tom, was there an explanation from Town of Ulster why they're not doing it? Was it lack of enrollment or was it just?
That was it. They had an anticipated number of 125, 126. They thought were coming based on what they thought, and they only had 16 people sign up.
Wow. Okay.
So, like I talked to Tina tonight, maybe we steal those 16 people. You know, I don't know. I mean, let's see what we do and go from there. But she said it wasn't bad tonight, and it's the first night, so hopefully, you know, we get a good influx of people. But Town also, yeah, they canceled on Friday because they only had 16 registrations.
Yeah, I
Okay,
remember Supervisor Quigley stating that now. Yeah, a lot of people, they downsize, like you said, and some of them don't have, Ulster is pretty far away. I don't know if we'll get anybody from Ulster, but from Platico, there might be somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be interest because when the school put out the first announcement that the town was going to be doing the summer camp, I received a lot of text and phone calls, and I was referring them to Colleen and Danielle for info, because I guess the school didn't put out like how it was going to be, like when registration was. That was the very first. I was getting those texts too. It was a little vague, so it
Yeah,
seemed like there was going to be, you know, a lot of people involved.
yeah, so basically, Tina Rosa did everything, all the registration, all that, and actually did a bunch of copies and got Mike Brooks' signature that he could put it out to the school, and they put it all out to all the
Yeah.
schools. So everybody is well aware of how to register their child and all the protocols. So hopefully that's going great. I think it's great, and thanks to Tina Rosa and the ladies doing this. I think if it wasn't for them, we would never have it, because we needed that camp director. Sands Avenue Park report. I think Howard and Scott have done a great, enormous amount of work coordinating that, and John Alonji and Dave Zambito and the Kurt, our excavator guy, and Mr. Philosella. They've been all working together to accomplish that. And with that being said, I just want to make a note as far as full disclosure on the Sands Avenue Park. The estimates we did receive, thanks to Scott and Howard, on the trees, and so we there's the A rake hydro seed, which is the 11,400 square feet, which is the portion up front. We had 3 quotes, and the winning quote was Mr. Scatoro, landscape and masonry, for 1,500. The other ones were 3,420 and 6,612. Second ask was for the 80,000 square feet hydro seeding, and Scatoro Landscaping and Masonry, they were the winners of that estimate at 0.125 per square foot, and that came to $10,000. The rest were 24,000 and 46,000. Bid request for the tree planting, and that was 38 trees provided by the town. That was won by Zambito Landscaping and Lawn Maintenance. Bid received was $180 per tree. That came to $6,840. The other 2 estimates were 11,400 and 19,000. So we awarded those bids, those estimates. So those things were accomplished. So just wanted to let the public know about, you know, the estimates and who they went out to, and we did our due diligence under our purchase agreement with our code, and we followed through. So with the Councilman Corcoran and Councilman Baker, like to add anything to that or expand on what's going on down there?
I just,
No.
I know Keith spread some more sandy loam today, right up to the edge of the wall on the north there. So that was great. I, publicly want to thank Dave for all he's done. Fantastic support. hopefully we'll get the water hooked up soon, right, Scott, so we can water those
Yeah.
trees and,
Charlie said hopefully by tomorrow, but,
Mhm.
it all depends what else some things come up and he can't do it, but he's hoping by tomorrow
Mhm.
for water hookup for the front. And I got one estimate for the electrical and I have two out now to see for electrical work. And that's not a rush job for the electrical, but it'd be nice to get the estimate. And then we also had John and Longy met with one person for the blacktop already. And Howard gave me a few more names that we'll ask John to meet with those other companies to get estimates also. So we're doing, like Al said, we're doing our due diligence, trying to get the 3 estimates for everything and making them public, but trying to keep the project moving along too at the same time. So, but as Howard said, thanks to everybody. I mean, Dave's done a lot of pro bono work down there. Keith's done tremendous amount of work. John and the crew have done a tremendous amount of work. So it's coming along. So we're getting there.
Yeah, and I like to also thank John and his crew for doing the striping in Marlborough. I mean, a lot of people like that. That was great. I
That's
see
nice.
more parking when I went through Marlborough. It was like everybody adhered to those lines. It was great. So they did a fantastic job. Alan, you'd like to just say something about your meeting with the Milton Landing Committee on the gazebo or the pergola?
Yeah, I met with the committee. We finally were able to all get together to have a committee meeting. Everyone was unanimous on basically having a gazebo on top of that knoll up there, 30 to 40 feet. Gail Appler actually staked it out. We have a couple designs we've been throwing around. Scott and I were in conversation. Same with Howard, just getting kind of like designs that we would want to see. I think the subject came up about whether we want a gravel floor or a cement floor. I would like to see a cement floor,
I agree.
just for the cleanliness, maintenance, longevity on that. So that all went well. They also brought up the electric, and Scott and I had some discussions on that. Scott, I think we were talking about going underground
Yeah.
on the electric, just to keep unsightly poles out and make it look, just modern and doing it right the first time. Obviously, we have the pavement coming, so we would want to do that now to get that out of there. One question I have for Dave. I know we're going to do this hydro seeding in stages, and I get it, and it makes total sense, 100%, just based on weather and, rainfall and, the potential for the grass to grow. Should we, and I don't know the answer to this, that's why I'm going to ask you, should we spread a broadleaf killer or a preventer on top of that sandy loam so we don't get weeds and we're seeding on top of, broadleaf like dandelion, that type stuff, and other broadleaf weeds? I mean, what do you think? What's your opinion?
All right, so if you're going to spray a broadleaf killer, you have to have contact with the broadleaf. Right now, there's nothing growing in that sandy loam. So for
Okay.
you to spray anything down like Roundup or whatever, if it's not in direct contact with a broadleaf, it's not going to do anything.
What
Now,
about
you
a
don't want to put
prevent?
down you do not want to put down a pre-emergent, because then it'll counteract the grass seed that you're putting
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Howard, you know about that.
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
Yeah, I
so
don't
what it
really
is,
know
a lot
like
of
the order of
times-
operation.
So a
That's all.
lot of times, if you're going to put a new lawn in, say at a new construction, and there's already topsoil spread, and you start having some of the seeds that are already in the topsoil regerminating, that's when you would put down a Roundup like 2 weeks before, because it's systemic. So
Okay.
once it hits, it works down into the roots and it kills it out. Then you
Okay.
could continue to prep and reseed with your grass seed. And the theory is the grass seed will come up and the broadleaf that was already in the material won't come up.
Okay.
So you'd be defeating the whole purpose, because the sandy loam, as of right now, what I can see, there's no green matter growing. So you'd be, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm just asking that because I just wonder if it was like, down for 2 months, 2.5 months before we get back into a hydro seed. Would it be a problem? If there's not a problem, I don't care. I just figured I'd ask the question.
I mean, if stuff starts to grow, you could, I guess, spray, but you'd have to do it 2 weeks prior. And if Charlie's putting water down there, I mean, that's the only reason why you wouldn't want to hydro seed in July and August is because you couldn't keep water on it. Now, naturally, you could bring water in with a tanker or whatever, but I'm sure that's, would incur more cost. But as far as Charlie putting a couple of yard hydrants down there, you could water. I mean, it's not it's not out of the question. It's all a matter of what you guys, how fast you want this project to progress. I mean, I hate to see it sit for, several months while we're on a roll here. I mean, right now, as soon as the hauler gets done hauling the material and Keith gets done spreading, I got another 60 yards of topsoil coming. I'm going to put on the entranceway going in, and I'm going to put the 4 more trees there. And then once that's all done, we could, next phase is planting the rest of the trees. And then, as fast as one guy is completed, the next guy can come in.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I was under that impression. That's what we were trying to do. I mean, maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
I think the next phase after we get all that dirt and spread out there is actually the stake out, and get the trees in, Dave.
Yep.
Probably the
Yeah,
stake
no,
out.
absolutely. Yeah, you want to put the
Stake out
trees
the
in
trail.
before we start doing before you have anybody come in and rake and prep, because there's quite a bit of work there, but you don't want me coming in after they rake and prep and digging holes all over the place.
No, we
Yeah.
want you to put the trees in, and then I thought, then after that,
Yeah,
you
last
tell me
phase
if
would
I'm
be,
wrong, I thought maybe then we would stake out the trail for the walk path, because
right.
we wouldn't want to plant grass and then have to rip it all up again,
No,
so.
grass is the last thing you want to do. Correct.
Okay.
So, and then I know like Howard said that we had asked Keith, I'd asked John on the weekend to have Keith put the item 4 pilot more into that 30 by 30 square so we didn't lose it. So
He
yeah,
did.
he did that.
We did.
So that way we have it for, if we're pouring a cement foundation, we have extra.
We have a big pile now.
Yeah, it's in a pile. So, oh, that's good. Because we're kind of all over the place. So it's good that it's there, and then we can spread it as we need it. So.
No, the place is looking good. Looks really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it looks really great down there.
So also when I met with Mr. Philosell and Keith, there was quite a bit of low spots that we had to fill in with the sandy loam. We'll probably use the 2 tons that the board committed to on top of the first 2 tons. So it might be an additional maybe 400 or 500 tons to finish it off.
We
with the
need
size of
2,000
the-
tons, right?
Huh?
So above we did 2,000. Now we've done another 2,000. Now we're going to know another 400 or 500.
No, that he hasn't hauled in the remaining 2,000 on phase 2 yet.
No, I didn't think
Yeah,
so.
but he's saying that when I met him Sunday, because of the slope and the hill and stuff,
Mhm.
he's just projecting that we might need another 400 tons. That's all I'm saying. That was from Mr. Philosell and Keith. Because when the excavator took a lot of that stuff in, and when they sloped it,
Yeah.
he asked Mr. Duke to put 2-3 piles there and a couple piles here. And it seems like when he said that, he said when they spread it up on the hill, because you got to go a little thicker, he said I'm just making the board aware that we might have to go for another 400 tons. That's all I'm saying. That's what's suggested. So I
So,
want to keep it,
so let me just clarify. So the original 2,000 ton,
Mhm.
and then we're getting an additional 2,000 ton, and then we may need an additional 400 ton on top of that.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense because I did talk to Keith also.
Yeah, I talked
and
to
he
you,
made-
Dave, about it too.
Yeah, and he made
said-
perfect sense. We're on top of shale, so you're going to want to put it down there, somewhat a little bit thicker because you don't want it to burn so
Right.
fast.
Exactly.
Plus we didn't, we filled in the 2 sides of the parking lot, which we didn't actually include in the original
Correct.
Right.
estimate. So that took a lot of tonnage right there. So.
So we may be 36 and 36 and another 9,000 on top of that. So
Uh,
70, about 80,000.
Oh my gosh.
So I make a motion that depending on, I'm pretty sure the way that both of those guys and they know their stuff. I would like to make a motion that we add on 400 tons to the overall 4,000 tons. So it comes to 4,400 tons.
Oh, boy.
Let's make it 4,500 to make it even.
Okay, 4,500. I rescind that motion and say to make it add another 500 tons to the 4,000 tons. So basically it'll be 4,500 tons.
I'll second that motion.
All in
Can I
favor?
chime in, Howard?
Absolutely.
So I would just like to say my feelings on the whole thing. I think it's a great thing that you have a bunch of professionals down here that really do know what they're doing. And from what I've seen, everybody's taking pride, because for Mr. Filicello to say, you know, not for nothing, I think we need an additional amount. You know, it's not just like he's just hauling in there, you know, and getting in and getting out. He's really taking some pride in it. And I see Keith's doing the same thing. And even right to the end, you got Mr. Scatoro in there, who's, you know, he's a good reputable guy. And I'm sure he's going to follow suit like everybody else. And everything just seems to be going very smoothly, and everybody's working together. And you don't always see that in these big projects. So I would just like to chime in on that.
Yeah, Mr. Philsell also added that when I was down there talking, that we want to put some sandy loam when you go into the dog park area. Dave took care of the right side. They want to take care of the left side now and dump a few loads in there to make that clean. So that's part of the 500 tons added.
Yep.
So I had a motion, I had a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
One other question I have for David. I'm sorry this is going on long, but
That's okay.
so it seems like we're not gonna be able to afford to put topsoil, obviously, on 80,000 square feet. What do you suggest we put on the sandy loam to get the grass to grow a little better? Because you say it's a little hard to grow in it. What is it? What do we use?
Well, I mean, once the lawn comes up, it would not hurt to put down some, you know, nitrogen-based fertilizer that would feed the material we already have there. I mean, sandy loam will grow grass. The key with that is you have to keep it wet because it dries up quickly, and you have to feed it because there's really no nutrients in it. But you know, Howard knows from farming. I mean, you know, the more you feed it, the better results we're going to get. You know, you got to understand we're working with material that isn't topsoil. It's not the worst material in the world, but obviously the price is substantially lower. And, you know, obviously we got to work with what we have. And I mean, you know, going from thinking we're going to do everything for 36,000, now we're up to 80, which is going to put a dent in, you know, the funds that you have available. And quite honestly, like you said, I would doubt that you're going to have the funds available to do topsoil. So, you know, the donated topsoil we have, at least we're going to have a nice entranceway going in, and the rest of it will be what it is. I mean, you know, again,
Once that grass gets established, let's just say on the sandy loam, and say we keep it fertilized, does it tend to, like, over years, over the years, you got to keep fertilizing it, or
oh, absolutely,
you're going to have to keep fertilizing?
Yeah, you have to feed it. It's like anything.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would probably be wise for the board to maybe put it in a budget. I don't think it would be a lot of money. We'd have to get quotes on it, but to actually have somebody come in and do periodic feedings.
I mean, Alan, I'm going to be honest with you. For you to get a quote on that place from like a True Green or whatnot, it's going to cost you a small fortune. I can tell you that from experience. I can also tell you from experience that you got a couple guys that work for the town, there's a couple guys in the water department and a couple guys in the highway department, I believe now, that are licensed to do that.
Yes.
That would be your best bet.
Right. We probably have the equipment to spread it.
Excuse me?
We probably already have the equipment to spread it. I would imagine at Clue a chance. You know what I mean? A tractor, a spreader.
I would think so, but if you don't, it would still be more economical to go buy a spreader than it would be to pay these guys. No offense to True Green or anybody else that's in the business, but it's an astronomical expense, and you could get the same results with somebody that you have in-house that's already licensed to do it. Just a suggestion.
Okay, well, that's a good suggestion, and one we should probably look at and approach the individuals that are licensed, you know?
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, I'm going on mute.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Go on mute. So this I put in, I don't know, Tom, if you heard from the gentleman on the ball field, the upper ball field with the lights and poles.
I'm waiting on him now because, again, with COVID, they cut their staff so immensely that he's kind of over his head right now traveling, and he's not in town at the moment. He's traveling, doing estimates all over. So he told me once he got back in town, he'd get back with me. But again, they cut the staff so much with the company that he's doing all the quotes in the whole Northeast. So he's not around right now.
Okay, understood. Well, thank you for trying.
Yep.
And our favorite subject, E, is the short-term rental code and number of short-term rentals. So we had a brief discussion about this last time. I'd like to just address the number of short-term rentals with what you all thinking, how many you thinking? Are you thinking it by doing percentage? Are you thinking of doing it by district? You thinking of just throwing a number out there? So I'm looking for input on that, and what you're feeling about the number of short-term rentals in the town of Marlborough. Like I said before, I think Tom could confirm, when I talked to the county and I gave that list to Tom, there was about 16, and then Tom went on, he confirmed maybe there were 20 that were operating, maybe, without coming in and getting the fire inspection or the safety inspection, fire and safety inspection, or just doing it through Virgo or through Airbnb. So I just want to pick your brains and see what you guys are thinking.
So we think there are 20 now that are doing VRBO or
Might be
Airbnb.
Less, well, probably less, because what happened is that 17 number we got, and then I found a few. Probably everybody I had written up had gotten back to me because, well, at this point, because of COVID, they all had eliminated the bed and breakfast. They all didn't want anybody in the house. So in response, I got about 7 or 8 that totally dropped their license with the county for the occupancy tax and eliminated the bed and breakfast in their home. So those were reduced. Now, will they come back? Potentially, but that number, correct, was anywhere from 16 to 22 to 25. So yes, I will say after our last discussion, Howard, I will agree with you that we could call the bed and breakfast a short-term rental. So what I did is I redid the application for the planning board, and under the application for a short-term rental, it said one family house, and it said house on the same property. I included bed and breakfast there because even though they're different in definition, the short-term rental is different from a home occupation. So it's a totally different setup. I'll include it under short-term rental. So you're going to have to decide if your bed and breakfast, short-term rentals are all inclusive of each other. And that would say, I think in the code, it says that you could have up to 2. So let's say you have a short-term rental across the street, and now you decide you want a bed and breakfast in your house. So I'm assuming that's going to be 2 at your max.
Yep.
But then again, you'll have to come up with that number, bed and breakfast, short-term rental, inclusive of a total number. So I'm assuming that's what you guys are going to get at tonight. So the bed and breakfast, including short-term rentals, under my definition, being that separate house, if that's that one number you're coming up with, then yeah, that's the number you need to come up with.
So that, just to clarify too, so in that case, so say you apply for a bed and breakfast and a short-term rental, you're paying the fee for both. So you would pay, because you cut up to 2. So that means the first you would pay the one for the bed and breakfast and one for the short-term rental, right?
That's
And
correct.
and would that be the same for the planning board fees?
The planning
And
board fees,
escrow?
I think the escrow, right, we decided $750 and $350 for
Yeah.
the application.
Right.
The answer to that is it's only if they came in at the same time.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
agree
For
with Tom.
planning board. And I would doubt that's going to happen, but I guess it's kind of, it would be similar to if I'm doing a subdivision and I include a lot line change with the subdivision, or I'm doing a site plan and include the lot line change. So it
Right.
kind of, so if I came in and was doing a bed and breakfast and including a short-term rental on another house and it was done at the same time and it was one plan review, again, I'm just going to say my opinion is I could live with one planning board fee, one site plan
right.
application.
So it'd be one
But
fee.
but my applications are separate in my office.
Right, I agree with you on that, Tom. I think that's only fair, and it's consistent to what we do now, as far as, like you was just saying, a subdivision and a lot line change at the same time. So you would have 2 people come in for the home occupation and somebody that has a piece of property on that's already has all the proper paperwork to make that a short-term rentals. That would be 2. That would be the $750 and the $350, Scott. And then,
Okay.
and when you go to Tom's, I think then that's different. There's two certifications.
Yep. So the short, I mean, the only thing that might happen if you have two at the same time is the 750 escrow may not be enough in the long run, but who knows? We're not gonna know till that happens, but I mean, the application fee is the same, so. All right, and my opinion is if we only have anywhere from 18 to 20, why don't we start out at 25? No more than 30. I mean, I don't know how many that I'm just,
That sounds 30 sounds like a good. I was going to ask you, Tom. That's what when we talked about limits. Was that what you were talking about? The total number or per individual?
I think in the code per individuals two, the max is
It
two.
is definitely.
Yeah,
Right.
two.
So then whatever, I'm okay at that 25, 30, wherever you're at, 25, 30, whatever you guys
We
decide.
had
I'm
20 in town, and we didn't really kind of know. You knew it, but nobody else really knew it. So I don't think that was.
I think 30 is a good number to start,
30,
Jeff.
yeah.
I don't know what you think, Alan. I think 30 is a fair number to start.
I can remember early on, I think we were kicking around the number of 25. So
Yeah.
I mean, 30 is not going to be, I would have no problem. I don't think I'd have a problem with 30, but I remember 25 coming up for some reason.
Okay, so that's, somebody make a motion on the short-term number of short-term rentals.
And
allowed.
just
to
real
be
quick,
clear,
this is something that could be reset at the reorg meeting, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
All the
Yeah.
stuff is, all the fees and everything else could set
Yeah.
up at the meeting.
Well, let's just be clear. We're talking about that would include bed and breakfast and another short-term rental that isn't a bed and breakfast. And the total of all those added up is 30, right? That's our limit.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
and where is this? I assume, I'm gonna assume it's in the building department, but where is this list gonna be held and checked?
Well,
Just
usually
like-
Tom looks at it and then it goes over to the planning department with Jen Flynn. So I imagine once we tell her what the limits are with the planning board, she sets up the planning board meetings. I think that Tom and Jen have been talking quite regularly, and I think there should be no problem.
But I mean, there'll be an actual list. It's kind of like the towing list, right? So you have an actual
Right,
list of
I
people.
think, Scott, right now, I think the law's been in effect maybe over a month. I don't think there's too many applications in front of the planning board, maybe one.
Yeah.
So I think, I think we could actually look at that between the two departments. They work closely together anyhow to not to go over that 30 limit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, that's not what I'm worried. My worry is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road, no one's keeping track of this. Let's start on day one that we actually have a list and we have it in one department or as a planning department or a building department, and it's trackable. Because if we, I'm not talking about our board, it could be 10 years from now, right?
Yeah.
So let's just have it somewhere.
It's probably best, I would say, to be kept in my department under the fire inspection process. What I have is, like, say, when I do my fire inspections on a yearly basis, my red folders are commercial and my orange folders are the residential multi-dwellings. So if I use another color folder, that would be the bed and breakfast and short-term rental, because again, I would have to do a fire inspection every year.
Right.
And they'd have to upgrade the fee every year. So
That makes sense.
it'd be fairly easy to be kept in my office as a separate fire inspection color folder to tell you what number you're at.
I'm good with that. Fire
Because
inspection-
right now, no matter where you start in the planning board, I've got to backtrack. You've got to backtrack to the ones that exist already, say like
Yeah.
pools and whoever else has a bed and breakfast that's legitimately through the planning board. I've got to start with them and recolor their fire inspection folder to become,
Right,
a short-term
right.
rental folder. So we'll have to do a little work.
I think that's the most appropriate thing. I agree with you, Tom. I have no problem with that. I don't think the rest of the board does. If you don't mind doing that, that's great, because, I mean, the main purpose, I think, that we're all really concerned about is the safety, the fire and safety of each and one of these individual rentals. If you call it short-term rental, bed and breakfast, home occupation, we just want to make sure they're safe. And so I think this is a proper way of doing it without being too progressive and, on infringe on their rights. So I think this is a great thing. I appreciate that. Is there anything else on short-term rentals?
Just one last thing, and I'm sorry.
You don't have to.
I'm just thinking of anything that could happen. So let's say it's mid-year, we already passed the reorg, we're still at, and this should actually get added to the reorg since it's not there, but we hit our 30 limit. Let's just say we hit the 30 limit. Is there a clause that we need to make anywhere to say that, or is it just a motion? The board can adjust that at any time?
Yeah, it can.
If they so choose?
Yeah, the board can actually do that.
Right. Okay,
board
but
can-
there's
but
no like
the board-
section we got to put it anywhere, right?
I mean, no, it's up to the board whatever board it is. We could also say that, listen, these things are more of a headache than anything. We just don't want to do them anymore. The board could just do that.
Yeah.
You could go and say, well, this has been great for the community and, these 30 short-term rentals, home occupation, home occupation would be but this would be great, and maybe we want more. Maybe we want 5, 10 more. It all depends on how it's going to go. We really don't know.
Yeah.
But done at reorg, not mid-year.
No, that's not in reorg, but during the year, if the board has a concern that you come to the board and say, and listen, I have a concern, these things are really not working out well for the community, they're not working out for our business, whatever. The board actually, the town board who established the code could actually say, I want to relook at this. Maybe we don't want 30. Maybe we don't want any short-term rentals. That's why.
Right, but again, that would be re-up prior to issuing licenses the first of the year. So basically, at the reorganizational meeting, you'd have to discuss it to reduce, and then we'd have to discuss who gets to keep the short-term rentals and who doesn't. I've got 30. You guys say this is not working out. 30 is too much. We want 20. You're going to have to discuss that at reorg because licenses are issued January 1.
We're not going to start taking them
I
away.
think we may want to look at actually putting in or enhancing what we've passed to say like, hey, if you have certain amount of violations, whether it be.
We have that already.
We have
It's
that
in there.
Yeah.
I got that on application say, basically this isn't a right, it's a privilege to have it. And at any time you have any problems with the police or my department, we have the right to revoke the permit on the spot. We could revoke and or not renew. So that's in the application.
It's in there. It's in the.
That's in there. I mean, I'm just saying, that's just my question. Like, we did it at reorg, we passed it mid-year. Tommy says, hey, we already hit 30 and someone's here at 31 and they want to do another one. I guess he would come to the board and ask for.
Legally, legally, that would be a legal question, but I don't think the board would have a problem reinstating saying that, because here we are talking, we're just putting out a number. But you could check with legal. Maybe you say, okay, maybe you want to put 5 more, like I'm saying, even in midterm. I think the board has the opportunity to do that.
Midterm, if you're doing a midterm, why even set a number then? You're setting a number.
Yeah.
I think somebody comes all of a sudden in July and all of a sudden say, well, we're going to meet, now we're going to add 2 more. And then in September, we're going to add 2 more. I mean, you've set a number. If you're going to set a number, let the number ride out to the end of the year.
That's the number.
The number's 30.
The number's 30.
But you're saying midstream, you want to change it in July. I mean, why set a number then?
Well, I'm just answering Scott's opinion. He's asking me, can you change it? And I'm saying, I think the board could change it.
The board could
Legally, the board could do it. That's all. I'm answering Scott's question.
somebody
Do you
could
want
come-
to do it or
somebody could
not?
come.
I mean, the conversation really doesn't have any merit unless it's a legal conversation with a lawyer, if you want to do it. I understand what you're saying, Tom. I'm just saying 30 is the cap. That's the end of it. Something happens in midstream where the board's concerned, the board could, at the time, could look at it and make a judgment call if we need legal to say, hey,
Well, if somebody comes tomorrow and wants to get added to the tow list, you're gonna increase the tow list? That would be a legitimate question in comparison.
They could come
I
and
think
make a
it's-
case to the board, I would think, and we'd.
Yeah, I
listen
think
and
it's pretty
make-
straightforward. If we say, if somebody shows up in July, we can say, hey, just come back and visit us in December. We're gonna
fine. That's
reorganize.
a Scott's question. I think you can do anything
I'm
you
just
want.
asking a question because these things are gonna come up, I'm sure.
So we have 30, we have the cap of 30. Let's move on.
I asked you a question.
Where does that cap go? Where are we putting that cap number? Is it put into the application or is it put into the code, Al?
I
Or is
think
it just
it,
put into reorg as a number, as a
Yeah.
fee or, you know? In the
Right
fee
now, it's in the
schedule?
minutes of this meeting.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's gotta be somewhere. We gotta show that, hey, we passed this somewhere, right?
Right.
So,
so it's in the meeting minutes right now, and I'll establish the 30 when Jerry Kumanos comes back, how to, I think it's actually in the code, right, Tom? I think that the board has jurisdiction of how many are allowed in the town of Marlborough. So if we put that, you know, theoretically 30 in there, I think if it has to be just a motion or whatever to make it legal, I'll ask Jerry when he gets back.
Yeah, it never usually goes in the code book itself because then you'd have to, every time you wanted to change
Yeah,
it, you'd have to
exactly.
change it. So
That's why we put it on the fee
reorg. When you
Yep.
do
it goes
that
on your fee
reorg.
schedule, reorg. Yeah,
Right.
that's where you're gonna put the number.
So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna make a formal,
May I ask a
motion.
question?
Manny has a question. Al.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
May I ask a question? My question is the 30 number with existing that's in place already? I think there's 18 bed and breakfast. So is it 30 total or whatever existing plus 30, making it 48? So is
No.
it 30 total?
No.
So
It's total. It's total.
okay, so there's 18.
If there's
existing
5
right
now,
So
already
it's only
established, we do 25 more. Whatever is established, Tom will find out. He knows how many are out, like the Cools and whatever. I think up on Latin Town Road, there might be a bed and breakfast. I don't know anymore. Like Tom says, a lot of them went away because of COVID when they come back. But you established ones that went through the planning board and established, they'll count as one of the 30.
So it's 30 total with the existing that's in place already.
That's correct, man.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'll make a motion that we're gonna cap the limit within the town to 30 short-term rentals, inclusive of bed and breakfast, short-term rentals, how we're putting in our code book. We're gonna make it at the reorg that this will be the set number. But as of now, this is the motion by me for 30 as a cap for the town of Marlborough.
Okay, I think you gotta specify, if you don't mind me, Ed, that it's the existing plus, you know,
The total inclusive of
the
all.
total.
Yes, it's
Besides-
inclusive,
Okay.
all inclusive,
All right,
existing and new.
I'll second.
old and new, exactly. Who said that?
I did.
Alan, Alan.
Very good, Alan. Old and new. That's me, old and you're new. Anyhow, moving on. Add the motion. I'll second that.
Alan seconded it.
Everybody in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh,
None
boy.
said, motion carried. Thank you very much, gentlemen. At the last meeting, I did mention 10th rental to amend, and then I didn't say anything about it. Bad on me. But for the camp, I did get one quote so far. And that was for 5 weeks rental. It was for a 20 by 40 pole tent was 1985. That's a day in the shade, tent and jump ride rentals, and that's from Highland. So that's what I have so far. I think everything is really going to depend. I really like the 20 by 40. There's a 20 by 30. That's 1805 for the 5 weeks. I thought they would be a lot higher, but they seem to be reasonable.
It's a good
Like I
price.
said, I'll get a couple more quotes, but this is a local place. I didn't want to prolong it because it's very important to have these tents, especially if we're going to have more campers than we're expecting, so we can segregate them, especially when it rains. So I did put in a request to help, secure them for the 5 weeks. I could decline anytime if we have a better price, but I just want to let you know where we stand on that. last time I added to the amended agenda, but I didn't say anything. We got into maybe short-term rentals or something. I don't know. So moving forward, so that's what I have so far. We have it in our budget. I'm waiting for 2 more quotes. Let's see what happens. Maybe we'll have to just go with that organization. Correspondence, I have a couple of correspondence. Basically, Mrs. Rodelli, mom passed away, and she would like to put a bench in memory of her mother. She'd like to put it facing the round pond where the Canosa, where the flagpole is. I went there, I met her. Her nephew, I guess, is in construction. They would pour a concrete slab there. It didn't look like it was in any way hindering the mowing. So she asked that for a request to do that. They're gonna donate the bench and put it in the park in memory of her mom. Anybody have a problem with that?
Nope.
And motion to call Mrs. Grandelli up and tell her she could put her bench there.
I'll move on that.
Second.
Aye.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
So,
Aye.
the other one I got was from Mr. Tenenbaum, Doc. He says, actually, myself, John Alonji, and Chief Picosa met there on North Road. He was saying, as we discussed, I asked him to send me a letter so I could present it to the board. He says, as we discussed, I'm asking that the town to place no parking signs on both sides of North Road from Church Street to Mahoney Street. This will prevent people from parking their cars on a busy and narrow road. This will be absolutely necessary once the Kent Brewery is open. We met, John and the chief agreed there was no problem with that. So this left, John expressed that he thought it was a good idea. So I don't even know where you park on that road so it's such a narrow road. But so it's up to the town board to decide if that would be a good thing and let John Alonji know to move forward on that. Like I said, the chief and John had no problem with it.
Well, they would know best, so I would defer to their expertise. So if they're saying that it's not a problem, I would be okay with that.
Okay. So a motion to move forward with the 2 signs on North Road, requested by the doc. Needed a second on that. I think Scott
Yeah.
made a motion. Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor? So
Aye.
moved. His second request was for speed bumps, but I don't think we could do speed bumps on the town road.
Well, I'll be first on the list for speed bumps. So we're gonna do speed bumps right here in front of my house.
Yeah, we ain't doing speed bumps. That's as far as correspondence that I have, gentlemen. So I'd like to move forward. If any public comments, or any public comments on the agenda or anything in question? Okay, none being said, I'd like to move forward with the resolution. So we'll start with resolution 56. Wet my whistle here, talking too much. Resolution 56 to approve an application for New York State DEC 2020 Hudson River Estuary Grant for river access accessible kayak launch at the Milton Landing Park. Supervising Lanzetta proposes to find, whereas the town of Marlborough has finished its LWRP and is moving forward with the implementation of directives for economic and recreation development, and whereas the town is seeking to improve river access for people of all abilities at the Milton Landing Park, and whereas as designated site along the Hudson River Greenway Trail, the Milton Landing Park is an important launching site that needs additional amenities to be fully utilized by all members of the public. And whereas the New York State DEC 2020 Hudson River Estuary Grant for River Access makes fundings available for kayak launch enhancements that will bring value to the community and broader region, and including nearby environmental justice areas. Be it resolved, the town of Marlborough supports the application for a New York State DEC 2020 Hudson River Estuary Grant for river access for accessible kayak launch, and moves for its adoption. And by the way, Howard, Councilman Baker, and Rosemary Wine and Jerry Wine, and a little input from John Bean, who've been working on this grant, and it's coming along great. Thank you to all of those that are doing this. And moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Resolution 57 to transfer funds. Supervisor Lanzetta proposed to find with the town of Marlborough embarked on a cultural resource survey in 2020, and whereas the survey was to be funded by a $10,000 grant, which we received 5,000 of the donated funds and 5,000 from the town's general fund for a total of 20,000. And whereas the town board needs to approve the transfer of funds, general fund balance A.9015 to historical property budget code A7520.400, be resolved that 20,000 be transferred to general fund, which I just mentioned, to our operating budget to pay for these projects in regular bill intervals until it is completed, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it. The next one is a little lengthy, so I'm not going to read it. It basically is for grading conditions of site plan approval and special use permit to Nexamp Solar LLC for solar photovoltaic system on the landfill site. Basically, this is a resolution that we are okaying the building of the solar panel, which is 1.2 megawatts. They came up on the by Bailey's Gap on our landfill. Basically, what we did was the board took over this instead of going through the planning board. It's called the Monroe document. We did all our due diligence. We had Pat Hines look at all the engineering. We had the lawyers look at all the documents. We had a public hearing. We went through SECRA. So basically, the board, through the process, has committed itself to this project. And this resolution therefore states all those conditions that the town board and our lawyers and engineers came up for that site. Right now, it's pretty critical to get it out there because I think Michael was the gentleman from Nexam was saying that Central Hudson's only allowing about 5 more megawatts onto their system. Ours is 1.2. Hopefully we'll get in there sooner than later. So with the signing of this resolution, with the approval of this resolution, sending it, the town clerk would then send the resolution verifying that we okayed it, and would go to the lawyers and to Nexam. So that's what the resolution's about. Anybody have any questions? Or we've been through this. We've done the same. Have done the same thing with the both towers that we approved. The one at the highway department and the one at the on the water tank. So we've done everything we could to move it forward. It's very exciting to see some solar panels on that landfill. Okay.
I do see Supervisor on the first and second page of the resolution, there's a blank date. Is that a date that I could get from the attorney or
Yes.
it says last revised? Okay, so
Yep.
before I complete that, I'll get
So,
that information.
Jeff did this, resolution, so you call tomorrow at the Vanderwater and get that.
Okay. All right, are you ready for me?
Yeah, I am.
All right, Supervisor Lanzetta,
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody. Hope everybody's enjoying the good weather and everybody saw my
Beautiful.
little black friend come up here and visit me the other day, my bear friend.
Yeah.
You say that you know him, Alan? He's been on your porch also?
About, if it's the same one, about
Oh,
4
I
or
see
5
you
years
talk
ago.
about it. God, what's the matter with you?
Yeah, you shouldn't ask me, but about 4 or 5 years ago,
What am I talking about?
The
About
mother, the mother, right?
about 1 a.m., I heard something coming through the woods, and I went out to look, and then something black was coming across my yard. I went in to get a flashlight. By the time I came out, it was on the stairs. It was huge. So
Yeah.
big bear,
Sweet.
but scared of me.
Hey, yes, you have something else to say?
Yeah, it's time for dinner. I haven't eaten yet, so I'm gonna ask the motion to adjourn.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night,
Everybody.
everybody.
Good night.
Night.